Well, its construction on Epic Universe is likely wrapping up later this year, and everyone looks into 2025 as the opening of that new park and being very excited for all the lands and rides coming there. A lot of people have been pointing and looking at the existing parks for Universal, Islands of Adventure, and just Universal Studios Florida in terms of what they may be adding to those parks after Epic Universe is done. And we have a rumor here from WDWNT that talks about a potential land that could be on the chopping block. So we're going to read through this article and rumor and give some thoughts on it. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And again, the article here is from WDWNT, and it says, rumor Universal actively developing replacement for Marvel Superhero Island. So rumors indicate that Universal Creative is currently developing plans that will replace Marvel Superhero Island at Islands of Adventure. Marvel Superhero Island opened with the parks in 1999. At the time, Marvel was nowhere near as hot of a commodity as it is now. Universal struck a deal for the theme park rights that include any characters in the families of characters represented in the land, meaning the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. The contract, which is available to read in full here, gives Universal exclusive theme park rights to choose or to those characters and the Marvel branding east of the Mississippi and last in perpetuity as long as Universal is utilizing the property according to the quality terms set in the contract. So that's interesting. I had always heard there's a mural that you can see in Superhero Island. I always heard all the characters associated with that mural were the ones that Disney couldn't use. So that's interesting. I've never heard it worded that way, but it would make sense. And it's also interesting that it's in perpetuity. And again, as long as they upkeep that land and keep it in whatever they have set forth in that quality terms in the contract, Universal can keep the Marvel rights to the parks, I get, for essentially forever as long as they maintain it. Disney and Marvel. In 2009, the Walt Disney Company purchased Marvel, including the comics and film studio. Due to the terms of the original contract, the agreement with Universal was unaffected by the purchase. However, it now meant that the money they were paying to Marvel was going directly into the pocket of their biggest competitor. Yeah. And I think that's the battle when it comes to doing something with this land, is that sort of situation right there. It's like, well, do we continue? Like, obviously, our biggest competitor, one of their biggest brands is in our parks. But at the same time, it's like you are paying them something, but it's also perhaps helping you, but also you keeping out of the hands of Disney, essentially. Disney has since added Marvel attractions to their theme parks and cruise ships around the world. With the notable exception of Walt Disney World until 2012, the resort remained devoid of Marvel-related anything. The inclusion of Marvel at Disney World got off to a rocky start. There was some trial and error where it seemed Disney was testing the waters to see what Universal would push back about. Among the representations were two monorail wraps, one promoting the Avengers and another promoting Iron Man 3, a Doctor Strange appearance at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and a Marvel store at Disney Springs. I remember the Doctor Strange one, and they didn't say it was a Doctor Strange meet and greet. They called it like a sorcerer meet and greet or something like that. And it did not last very long. I think they say in this article that it lasted about a month. I remember it lasting a couple of days and then being like just no more. So they have been they push that envelope sometimes to see what they can get away with and what, Universal they may or may not say something about. The monorails were permissible as long as they didn't run on the Epcot line, therefore entering a theme park, as they were the equivalent of an advertisement for a movie. The Doctor Strange appearance at Disney's Hollywood Studios lasted less than a month before it quietly disappeared. And the Marvel store, Superhero Headquarters, originally debuted without the Marvel branding. A Marvel logo has since been added to the signage. So it seems that it's definitely just involving the actual theme parks, as Disney Springs is not in the theme park. It is technically, it's Disney property. So it seems like that is okay, but not inside of an actual theme park. The biggest development was the opening of the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. This is permissible within the terms of the agreement because the Guardians of the Galaxy do not appear at Islands of Adventure. They're also not considered part of the Avengers, X-Men, or Fantastic Four families. And they said, what happens if Universal gets rid of Marvel Superhero Island? If Universal replaces Marvel Superhero Island and has no Marvel universe within the park, the contract is terminated. They will no longer have the theme park rights to any Marvel property. This would then allow Disney to add more Marvel to the Walt Disney World parks if they so desired. So we're going to have some thoughts on this in a second. We're going to finish out this article, see what might go here, and then we'll talk about it. So what could replace Marvel Superhero Island? It says right now the possibilities are wide open. Original plans for the land before Marvel signed on were Batman themed. Universal has also many properties of its own that it could use to avoid another licensing agreement. However, sources indicate that Universal Creative is developing plans for a Pokemon themed land. They currently work with Pokemon for use at Universal Studios Japan, and the property is undeniably popular. Universal Studios Japan's version of the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man closed recently with rumors of a Pokemon re-theme. It's possible Universal could be considering this for both versions of the ride. Other rumors, however, point to a Pokemon takeover of The Simpsons, which is what I had been hearing, next door at Universal Studios Florida. Funny enough, The Simpsons is another property that Universal had theme park rights to, and then was purchased by Disney. So it's no coincidence that both lands are reportedly on the chopping block. Rumors of Universal giving the theme park rights for Marvel to Disney have circulated since 2009, and at this time, nothing has been confirmed by either party. Okay, so I guess this is kind of a multiple layered thing here with this. So first off, I will just say I have no doubt that Universal has looked at different ideas of what may replace this land. I would be shocked if they hadn't. So I think that part, either actively or has happened in the past, has definitely gone on. And especially the timeline does match up of looking at adding things because, again, with Epic Universe wrapping up, Universal is not going to stop. They're going to continue to add things, especially to their existing parks. So it would make sense that they're going through areas of the parks that they feel like they could update, add more new attractions to help boost, crowds and revenue and things. So the timing of that makes sense. The one thing that I don't think makes sense. First off, I don't know about Pokemon here. Again, I think it makes more sense in The Simpsons, and that's a rumor that seems to have a lot of legs. That this is the first I'm ever hearing about Pokemon maybe going here. But the main thing is the business side of it. So even if Universal has a really good idea of something to put in this land that would make more sense in terms of what they currently have, maybe it's their own IP or something else they license out. The thing is, from a business side, though, is like if Universal, whether they just give the rights over to Disney by forfeiting the land, which I don't see them doing that personally, that it's a far too valuable of an IP to potentially just hand over to your biggest competitor. But even if Disney pays a lot of money to get the theme park rights, you are essentially giving your biggest competitor access to one of their biggest IPs to be able to use against you in the theme park, wars. So for that reason alone, I just don't know. I'm not saying it's not possible and they're not looking at it, but I feel like them just, without having any compensation from Disney, just giving up the rights for this and letting them, just default back to Disney. I feel like that scenario is not a very likely one because, again, the theme park rights, I would assume, would be worth billions if Disney wanted them to be able to buy them. I would assume. I don't know for a fact, but it's a lot of money I'm sure that Universal could make off the fact of allowing Disney to have access to, Marvel in their theme parks. So I suppose if Disney were, willing to pay a lot of money for this, that's a conversation to be had. Hey, what they're paying us, would that potentially offset maybe what they would be able to do market share wise? Or does it make more sense for us just to keep what we have and maybe even update it or something like that? Who knows? So that's where I kind of look at this. On top of the fact, there's other areas of the Islands of Adventure that need more updating versus Superhero Island. First, the Toon Lagoon area. Those are completely all outdated cartoons for the most part. That could all be replaced. Then you're talking about the Lost Continent, as again, that was been rumored to be Zelda. That is definitely something that could be updated beyond this area right here. So I feel like that this isn't the highest on the chopping block, maybe because of this, like where it stands for all those reasons. And there's other areas of the park that are less traffic that could definitely use a boost. Is this rumor have legs? Is it true? I mean, who knows? Again, this is an older rumor that has been out here for a long time. You'll hear it pop up every once in a while about, will Disney ever get the theme park rights? Will Universal ever sell them? And there's never really been anything I'm aware of even talks that have gone on between Universal and Disney for this. So I don't even know if that's the case, but I just feel like my gut instinct on this is Universal would not give up these theme park rights, even if they had a good idea to go here, because potentially what Disney could do with it and really hurt them in the theme park side. So I feel like they're going to hold on to this, as long as they can, unless Disney is willing to come to the table and spend a lot of money. I actually like Superhero Island. I'm a big fan of the 90s, cartoons and comics and things like that. So I think at one point I would have liked Disney to have the Marvel properties for the theme parks, but nowadays I'm almost kind of happy that Universal has them in this era of it, as I've kind of, the MCU, while its peak, or, obviously it was around 2019. I think like this has more longevity in terms of these comics than the MCU does. But I definitely think if Disney were to get the rights to it, they would for sure, even if it's just copycat attraction, I think they would definitely, start adding things into the theme parks rather quickly, which is something they could definitely hurt Universal on the theme park side if, Disney does it well. So I would say it's less than a 50% chance. Like it's not even it 50-50. Again, I'm sure they're looking at things they could add here, but just from the business dynamics of it and all of that, I would be rather surprised if they were going to do something with this land right now, unless we hear otherwise about Disney, wanting to buy it and coming to the negotiating table. Again, my gut instinct is unless Disney comes to the table and pays a lot of money, I just don't see Universal giving up those rights, even if it's just a defensive play to keep them out of Disney's hands. It might be a small price to pay, but that is going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture news. And let us know in the comments, do you think Universal would ever forfeit the rights for Marvel in the theme parks? Or do you think Disney would have to pay a hefty sum of money for Universal to even think about doing that? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.